GSTL color war.
To the bottom right in the orange, FXOpen player played in the preseason. He's playing again. His ID is
FXO JKS.
He's been with the team for a really long time.
Yeah. The third player for the team. Top left though, we have the LGIM player. It is the water Pokemon. It is
LGIM Squirtle.
You know, he really says that with a lot of enthusiasm when Squirtle comes out.
Yeah, he did. I don't blame him. I'm excited.
You know what you have to do when your hair is getting a little bit longer like that is to place the headset just very carefully on your head. Blizzard bought pizza. Papa John's, in fact, a great choice. I'm actually really pissed, though.
A little bit of a shout out here to production. I really appreciate that they are going to save us a pizza.
Yeah, I want a pizza up here yesterday. It needs to be here now.
Well, you know, talking about pizza made me a little bit hungry, but what I wanted to point out is that with Squirtle in this game now, I feel that he's going to be very solid in his opening, probably going to go for the Stargate once again. This is what I would want to see from him here. And on the other hand, I'm more interested what exactly JKS is going to try, because he's the player who I feel has to prove something.
Yeah, he really does. And I think we're going to see him be the one who tries some versatility. Double drone coming down. He really wants to make sure this does not get blocked. And so far, so good.
The thing is, if you actually get Pylon blocked here, it's so annoying to take that third base first. It's so far away.
Yeah, and with the double drone, it's really easy to, well, not easy, but it's the best way to deny that pylon, because you can keep the probe really busy, and you can also just block the pylon location with your drones. Once again, also chasing the probe.
Yeah. Scout in the main base, of course, and the Zerglings, they will be out in a second. The green too. You want to get that scout out of your base.
Really, really critical. And Mutalis in this matchup, we talked about it a little bit, are giving Colossus trouble because of the new acceleration and the regeneration rate. Oftentimes you see just pure Muta and nothing else in this matchup.
Yeah. It's a really strong strategy. A lot of players will also go into Hydra pushes. That's what we've seen already. Hydra with Viper is very, very strong here. But you have to make sure that you get the speed upgrade for the Hydra list so that they can move across the map freely. And there's also a lot of timings that you have to hit. But ooh, talking about timings, that Zergling has the perfect time to get into the main base. The second hit of the cannon does not reach it, and therefore we have the perfect scouting information now for JKS.
That Zergling just slipped underneath the door, and he is going to continue to pester these probes. He's just going to poke around, damage some shields. He probably won't get a single kill, but he's forcing probes off the line and forcing the attention of Squirrel to be focused somewhere else.
That's mining time lost, and it's always annoying. It messes with your build, makes sure that you're a bit reluctant to show your tech. All the pylons are on the low ground though, and the low ground is protected by the cannon, so that's not a lot that happens in terms of scouting information, but just having this nuisance in your base is such a big problem.
You know how air circulates? It usually moves upward, especially with an amount of heat. And we're sitting upstairs. And what's happening to me right now is...
Did someone fart the audience?
No, no one farted, but... well, they may have, but I would not be aware of that. What I am aware of is
that we sit upstairs.
Yeah, we will. If someone farts, we'll know about it. But the thing is, this pizza smell...
Oh, yeah.
It's permeating.
We actually ate before we came to the studio today, but I have to say that I have a bit of an appetite right now, just smelling that.
My stomach has something to say about it.
Everyone has a pizza except for us. This is just a trend. This was also true in the Mukdam studio. It's happening here. And it's getting worse. Now I know what you're talking about. It actually just, the wave of pizza smell just hit me too.
I haven't had Papa John's in so long too. That Zergling with 1 health will finally die.
I don't even know what that is, but I want to try.
It is good.
Well, what we have for Squirtle here, focusing a little bit on the match at hand, is once more the Stargate opening. So exactly what we predicted coming into this game. It was the preferred opening in Wings of Liberty at the end on this map, and it's also the preferred opening
before Heart of the Swarm. Yeah, it's the best way to play Belcher Vestige by far.
What we had for JKS is a double evolution chamber. He can start now with a +1/+1, and you can really see that he's going into the melee upgrades instead of going into ranged upgrades. So this also lends us to believe that he is going into Ling Muta Baneling composition instead of going into, well, he could go for that instead of going into Swarm Host or Viper Roach.
Yeah, it's anything is possible. The Swarm Host opening also is quite good with ranged upgrades coming out. So it may be that this +1 for melee indicates he doesn't want to go for the Swarm Host. But anything is still possible here. He's going to try to scout. And seeing the double evolution chamber usually makes you think at first hand with no Roach War and Mutas. But he will have to keep checking to verify that.
You've seen this build quite a lot also when you want to go for Infestors. This is something that has more been shown in, against Terran, of course, in Wings of Liberty. But I'm a little bit interested to see what exactly he's trying to pull off with this. Against all those Phoenixes, we already have the first few Squawkers being built, but still the units do some damage here and pick up the occasional worker.
Yeah, he's doing a little bit. He will try to get the Overlord, but nice transfuse, saves it, and he just wants to continue to be aggressive, and this is mostly about scouting than anything else. Obviously, you get some freebies if it's allowed.
He's going into the Infestation Pit. He's really going for it now. Yeah. While we have more air-heavy transition now, even with the Void Ray coming out, and now that the Mothership Core joins the match, we have now the opportunity for Squirtle to just go for a bit of a more pointed attack and then recall his units.
Very true. This is something that has been kind of the talk of this matchup, is how are Zerg players going to be able to deal with Ferocious and use recall really, really well. And the Infestation Pit can be for just playing Infestors taking a slight nerf with their animation for the fungal growth. We'll see what he has planned. 2-2 now started.
I'm really curious.
I could just go for Locust. Or Swarm Host, which will of course then spawn the Locust.
Yeah, but I feel that if he goes for Swarm Host, he would have gone for the range upgrade instead of the melee upgrade.
Yeah.
You can, of course, now against Protoss also use the Ultralisk. So if you make it up to a point where you have your Hive Tech and the Hive Tech was started, you can go into Ultralisk transition. The Protoss player has to go into Immortals.
Yeah, and this is starting to look like what we may have.
Should go Immortals, but can also, of course, use Void Rays against them.
Yeah, and, most likely we'll see both if we do see Ultras come out. I love the Void Ray Observer combo to get rid of Creep Tumors. With the Phoenix Escort, you can push the Queens away if they come out. There's no way to stop that. Nice, that drone was going to make a fourth base, he denies the fourth.
Takes down a few Harvesters. Very well done, 10 in total, quite a lot.
The Mothership Core just continues to be annoying on the Watchtower. Without anti-air, you can't actually hold the Watchtower against the Mothership Core without sacrificing Zerglings.
Attempt to spread the creep a little bit more aggressively. And now Hive is nearly done, and then we will see if we will have Ultralisks in the game. And I actually think this is what he's going for.
These upgrades really lend themselves to Ultralisks as well. The melee upgrade and the armor upgrade both.
Anything else doesn't make too much sense.
Yeah. I mean, if suddenly we see Vipers come out with no support, that was just kind of weird.
Yeah.
And it's done now. He's got the gas to start an Ultras cabinet. There it is. That's certainly what we see.
Yeah, and we have more Void Rays now in the game. And I'm really interested to see how this game works out, because we have Immortals being built, we have Void Rays, and Ultralisk against both of those are not the strongest units. So this is going to be very interesting if that works. I mean, with the Queens that he has, and the one thing that I really want to point out here is that JKS never really stopped his Queen production. He was always getting like 1 or 2 at a time. So he will have a lot of those, and he needs them for the trends to use. But Squirtle already saw the signs, and he goes into triple Stargate now.
That puts him on 4 Stargates in total. Corrupt on, or Contaminate on the robotics, so he can slow the production of Immortals. But this game is going to get a little bit out of hand for JKS if he doesn't make any Infestors. He's going to need some Infestors to deal with the players, because Corruptors, first of all, are impossible without a Spire, and are not really going to cut it against this many Void Rays.
And look what he's doing. He's going now into Tempests. He wants to have Tempests here. Might also go for Carriers now with the Fleet Peak, but I certainly think that Tempests are going to be the weapon of choice.
Yeah, I think so.
They are very strong in this matchup. The air weapons have been started, and on 3 bases he can afford it easily.
Consider as well that with the beacon, he can get +2 for his Void Rays, Tempest, Carriers, whatever he wants.
Very true.
And this is a scary position. This is where you want your Mothership Core to be, so you can do a recall, but he doesn't have it. He's going to lose some of those important sentries.
Yeah, he's going to lose all of those
And the Void Rays need to get out. He's actually losing way too much here. Squirrel, you need to leave.
Well, he's trying to just trade and maybe take down a few Zerglings, but he has to get more Void Rays, and he's getting quite a lot of them. We now have 4 Ultralisks. The problem is really, even though JKS is now using all his resources to get those Ultralisks out, if he leaves his opponent too much time, then suddenly this Void Ray army is just gonna obliterate him.
Exactly. There's something that we see right now from JKS that I really, really like. He hasn't added the Infestors, but he's going up to now 12 Queens. He has 11 on the map. I think he's just got 1 more on the way. This is something I've heard Idra talk about a lot on his stream about dealing with this Void Ray force. And this is going to be really interesting to see how the outcome of this turns out, because he's now adding even more Queens, and they're not only going to be great for attacking, but transfusing the Ultralisk as well.
Yeah, he has to use Transfuse quite a lot, and the Queens, that's the only thing that he has. There's no other anti-air. He has 11 of them.
Yeah, and they were a bit out of position. The Phoenix has got quite a lot of kills there.
Look at those Void Rays. 4 additional ones being built, plus 2 coming up. 10 Void Rays on the map already.
It's going to be about the Queens. The Queens are not armored. The Void Rays are not going to get bonus attack against them, and they have so much energy to transfuse. I still feel JKS has a pretty firm hold on this game because he has the better economy, and he's really building the composition he needs to fight this.
I'm a little bit surprised that we didn't see the Templar Archive yet. He's going into Twilight Council now.
He wants to feed back those Queens.
Exactly. As soon as he has the first Templars out there, the Queens are not going to do anything. They are going to be feedbacked, and they will be gone.
They will either die or lose their ability to transfuse. They're going to lose hit points no matter what. I think something else that's really important to mention is that the Queens don't have any attack upgrades, which means their base attack is still going to be weaker than it could be.
I'm also a bit surprised that we don't see any Tempests at all, because they are great at zoning an army out. You can really zone so much with them. He doesn't do it. He just got the Fleet Beacon to go into +2.
This type of style is just not quite figured out for anybody 100% just yet. It's starting to become more and more developed.
Yeah, there's so many different ones floating around. Yeah. You have Void Ray and Tempest, pure Void Ray as we see here, then always the composition with High Templars for feedback and Storm.
And here we go. The Korean cast just found out their 17 Void Rays. They freaked out a little bit.
They have to pay attention.
You know, the thing is, in a situation like this, I cannot believe he does not have armor on the way for his Void Rays. He's targeting down the Queens, but look at the transfuses. 17 Void Rays versus 1 Queen. It looks like the Queen wins, but now...
No, this is too much DPS.
He has way too much DPS. He will have to cancel the 4th, but...
The ground army is just ignoring the Void Rays. They are trying to go for the top so that the Void Rays have to target down those Ultralisks.
The Queens can't catch up. They can't get out here without the creep pushed any further.
The first Ultralisk is already down. A few of the Zealots are being warped in to close the wall. Here come the Void Rays taking down one Ultralisk after another.
Ultralisks are massive units. The Void Rays get bonus damage not only against the armor, but against the massive by default.
But we don't have the Prismatic Alignment used just yet. The Void Ray charge is in cooldown.
There's a Viper on the way. He can try to do some yanks to get the extra damage on the Queens at the back. Spore Crawlers going down as well. I think these are... You know, the thing about Spore Crawlers is they also take bonus damage to Void Rays. Does he have enough here? Time Warp goes down. I don't know, man. These Void Rays are already charged up here.
This is a good fungal that we have now, and now the Void Rays coming in with the charge, trying to take down those Queens and the Ultralisk. The Queens are falling one by one. He's getting 6 at the same time, but it's really a tough battle.
There's not enough anti-air here just yet. He's making, like you said, 6 Queens at a time. But the thing is, you need more hatcheries to make more Queens, and hatcheries are expensive.
The Ultralisk, they have to survive and do some damage. If he loses all of them, then even taking down the few at the bottom left it's not going to help him at all. And even with the transfuses, this hatch is gone.
Yeah, it's just great splitting here by Squirrel. Sends some of his Void Rays to kill the economy, some of the Void Rays, just a few. You know, 3 to 5 is all you need. Uh-oh, bit of a mistake there.
Yeah.
He needs to get an Observer out to start clearing up this creep, because that's one of the biggest tools that JKS has to keep his Queens moving forward.
So true. Without the creep, he's nothing here. But look at the Void Rays now streaming in, and those
That's
Ultralisks.
So much money.
Oh my god.
He wishes this was his private account so he could get that experience points.
Yeah, look at this. This is ridiculous. He's killing all those Ultralisks. Now suddenly JKS is down to 160 supply against 200. The Vipers are finally there. We have a few Infestors, we have the Queens, but there are still 23 Void Rays on the map.
And keep in mind, Squirrel's been doing all of this only on 3 bases for so long. He's been stuck on 3 bases. He's now getting +3 for his Void Rays, but that's one of the things to note is the economy for JKS is still better, and he has a bank. He's going to start to lose his economy slowly but steadily here, but he has that bank, so he can switch into whatever he wants. And so far, he's looking like he wants to go into those investors.
Yeah, we don't have a Spire. He can't go into any air units, but Corruptors, they don't do too well against Void Rays anyways.
The Observer is out. He's clearing up that creep. Void Rays trying to charge here. Obviously, the Queen's not taking any extra damage. Great fungal here. The Void Rays are clumped. He needs to start to spread those, but the chain fungal is on.
Yeah, the chain fungal, he's trying to, but the big problem is that those infestors, they are way too fast against the Void Rays. He can't get close. He already lost 3, but he gets another fungal in. Can he chain fungal all of them?
Doesn't look like he has any more infestors nearby. He hits one more fungal, but there's just too much DPS here. You know, you can damage them all you want, but if they're not dead, it doesn't matter.
The Queen's out of energy.
They're out of energy, and they're about to be out of hit points.
Exactly. They are going to die, all of them. They are not going to be able to take down these Void Rays. They're just way too much. And now that the anti-air is gone, even with more supply, he is unlikely to continue this. He's losing his hatches right now. He's losing his income. He's losing just the backbone of his entire strategy.
Yeah, he has the supply lead, but his army is just not where he wants it to be right now. He needs to get a few more infestors out, but he can't overcommit to the infestors. He has to have a good balance here, and he's running slowly but steadily out of money. So every unit that he makes is so important. This time, he will not force the cancel on the 4th.
But JKS is trying now to just run past Void Rays, do damage on the ground, take down bases, make sure that the 4th is not an option for Squirtle, trying to starve his opponent. And so far, he's doing a pretty good job with this. He's losing bases on his own, but he's also dealing a lot of damage to the economy of his Protoss opponent.
I'd like to see him maybe target that Nexus down. It's got just a few more hit points, a few yanks on the Void Rays go down here, and that actually eliminates quite a few. Nicely done here. Viper's really helping out.
Yeah, the Viper's helping out, and the Zerglings are a constant threat to the Protoss. Another Zergling at the right side of the map doing damage to the economy. The workers are slowly fading, and the Void Ray count is significantly reduced.
Yeah, this game is really on a razor-thin edge right now. It could tip either way. It's going to depend on the next few moments, and the engagement bungles as well. Yanks him in once more. One Void Ray at a time. That's how you do it. Takes him out here, saves the Infestor, and Squirtle is starting to look like his army that was looking unbeatable is starting to look very vulnerable.
The Queens, they really have done it. 12 Void Rays are still on the map, but we have 11 Queens, we have 1 Viper left, and of course, those really important Infestors that can help out with the fungals, try to chain fungal those units. Even though JK has lost those bases, it is really difficult now for Squirtle to keep this momentum going.
It is going to be so difficult. Oh, he loses 2 more Void Rays here. Oh, misses the fungal, still takes it out.
Yeah, the abduct was too strong.
The micro coming in for Squirtle next is going to be so difficult. Trying to get his High Templar in, defeat back Infestors and Queens against Ultras with also the Lynx coming out in the front. It's going to be too much to manage, I feel, with also having to make sure his Void Rays are charged constantly.
Yep. The important part was really for JKS the entire time being able to rely on his ground force to take down this 4th base, to deny mining for as long as possible. But this game is not over yet. We have a back and forth match.
The tables have kind of turned in a funny way where Squirtle is the one who had the awesome army that looked unbeatable, but he had a weak economy. Now he's the one who has the 4th base up and running. JKS is desperately trying to get his own up, but he has the stronger army
and
now.
Look at the Archon count now. We suddenly have 4 Archons in the game, and then 2 additional ones will join them soon. So suddenly we have a very solid ground force for Squirtle, who also has a fair number of Void Rays still in the air.
Yeah, and their upgrades are even better than they were before. He has +3 out for them. Mothership Core going down is going to allow him to be able to use that recall ability if he gets into a hairy situation. Even under fungals, you can pull those out.
And we now have 4 bases for Squirtle. He nearly lost the 4th, but he was able to save it in the end. So now this is a strong army that we can see for JKS, but the Observer, he knows everything that's happening here, so he sees the amount of Infestors. And the thing with the Infestors is that now that we have the Archons in here, he could also warp in another round of High Templars and try to use the feedback against Infestors and Queens.
Yeah, against anything he wants, and this energy level is quite high. I'm surprised he doesn't leave the Templar out. You know, he's making them all into Archons at this point, which, yes, this is smart, but you know, the question becomes, should he be keeping a few of them outside of the Archons?
The Mothership Core is slowly going to die. Not quite. 28
Barely
points.
saves it.
Didn't have the energy for Photon Overcharge here.
Yeah. A few more Immortals being added in. Squirtle is making deadly army compositions, and Squirtle just picks a unit and he just masses it, it feels. You know, next one seems to be Immortals. He's making only Immortals now. And en masse, that's the type of Protoss army that's so difficult to defeat.
To me, it's just a little bit weird that he didn't get any High Templars. The problem for him really was, what do High Templars do if you have nothing else on the ground to protect them? But we can talk about this later, because now it seems like Squirtle is trying to take down this army, take it on. JKS is attempting to find a better position to fight.
Yeah, you know, he started to go for the abducts, and then he realized, wait a minute, this is not the right choice, I need to get out of here. The abduct's actually helping Squirtle a little bit in that fight.
But coming back to the point, if you don't have anything else except for the High Templars on ground, then those Ultralisks will just do all the damage. That's the one advantage that you have when you go into Tempest instead of Void Rays.
Exactly.
The range is so huge that you will always be able to retreat with the High Templars.
And I think that we'll probably see a few Tempests coming out later on. Here comes the flank here. This is a great position. These guys, units well split.
Oh my god, this is such a great split. He attacks from every single angle. Here's the Time Warp Waddle in the middle of the army of the Zerg player. He's trying to retreat.
Drops and Supply like crazy. The Time Warp really helping out. The Archons are too much.
Oh my god, the Archons, they surround everything, and suddenly this huge Zerg army is just gone.
Squirtle is annihilating JKS right now, and he is becoming, well, that's it.
GG. It looked like JKS had the stronger army here, but the composition for Squirtle was so strong.
The position was
and
great
position
as well.
was amazing from every angle. He just came in, he pinned him up against the wall, and then he never stopped hitting, and just, it was just, you could take them all. Everything was going down.
Well, Squirtle had a multi-step process there with this build. He scouts, he goes for the Void Rays. An excellent choice, really. JKS played admirably, made all the right choices against the Void Ray composition he was facing. He just couldn't stop Squirtle from building up Void Rays and a ground army once he had that fourth base, once he had that economy.
MC and Squirtle just exchanging thoughts here about the game.
Love.
And the one team that really has to think about the next player quite hard is Team FXO. Well, we have the winner smiling into the cameras. We have FXO now on their last game.
Is it Leenock or is it Gumiho? Gumiho and Leenock both talking to players and both sit on the edges of the seat. It could be either.
I feel Leenock. I always think Leenock. Leenock is like this one guy that you always expect to come out for Team FXO to save them. The last player, the last final boss that you have to defeat. And even though at MLG it did not really go his way, I feel it has to be Leenock.
I think for when it comes to picking the last player, nobody has the most experience turning team games around from being last. He's the guy who comes out last under pressure all the time. He's experienced there. Gumiho usually comes out a little bit earlier. Is he the guy you really want to put out last? I just don't think so.
I don't know. It's really difficult to judge because Gumiho has shown great results, not only in the individual league, but also in the team league. So it could be either one of them.
If Gumiho comes out instead of Leenock, I think it's really telling of how much skill has been hidden, how much practice Gumiho has been able to get off, and how well he's doing. Because if they're really going to choose him, he must have something really special to see. He has not been traveling to these events. He's been just practicing. No Code S to play in right now. No events to go to. Just hitting the ladder, playing with his teammates, preparing a lot of builds. And the same, though, is true of Squirtle.
Let's find out who it is. He's sitting to the top left, and it is going to be Leenock, the Leenoctopus.
This is iconic. I mean, he is the last player always for FXO. He is the king.
Yeah, he definitely is.
You know, when things get bad at the lower parts of the city and you don't know what to do and you're trying to figure things out, you got to go to the king. You got to take things straight to the top. And Leenock is the king of FXO, and he will sit in his throne. This is going to be a tense match. Squirtle, though, with the play that we saw from him, how well he reacted to what he scouted.
You could see all the Protoss players assembled there at the LJM bench talking a little bit about Leenock, about his style, what to do in the next game, what to do on the next map. They really want to close things out right now. You don't want to go into the ace match.
Yeah, you certainly do not. You just want to end it. And like we talked about before, for those of you guys who are tuning in a little bit later perhaps, part of this is not just about winning, but also the point score matters. So every single point you get is really important.
Icarus is going to be our next map.
I like the choice.
Before we have our last match, possible last match of the day, we are jumping into a 5-minute break. So see you guys in a few with Squirtle versus Leenock.